After working on Harmony for 10 long months, I was tired and needed a break. So I flew to the UK to see my daughter, who I hadn't seen in almost 2 years. And we had a wonderful time visiting and going around to see some of the sights in Wales. And then I got on another plane and went to New York, where I had a visit with one of my oldest friends. And then I got back on another plane and went to Los Angeles, where my daughter flew in. And so I had both my kids in one place, and we had a nice little vacation at the beach. And I also stayed in this adorable Airbnb where Sonny and Cher used to live. And we went hiking in Topanga Canyon, which was so fun. And then I was happy to fly back to Curacao and get back to work. Here's Harmony, high and dry in the boatyard, surrounded by all these absolutely enormous boats. This monster here, she's the smallest boat in the yard, and we have to go up the ladder to get aboard. So the big news is the thru-hull for the head is now gone. It's gone. The hull is almost 3/4 of an inch thick in this spot, and I'm gonna grind out around it, patch this hole, because there's not gonna be no hole in the boat there now. So that's exciting. In other news, she has this pox, this spottiness happening. I've been working on it. So this is where I was sanding, and you can see how this stuff is just flaking off in spots, but right here you can see a little gray left here. I think it was an old blister repair epoxy putty that's popping off and not the gel coat. This is the old seacock that came out. It's a valve, one way or the other, this way. It was together like this, and this turns to lets the water go through or not, depending on how it's turned. And it was frozen in the open position, but my friend came over and we put a torch on it to heat up this outside part, and a little tap right here, and the thing popped right out. And Bob's your uncle. Bright and early this morning, 8:30, tap 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 on the hull, and here comes the guy to look at my seacocks. And I was so excited, but I was right in the middle of cooking breakfast, so he's coming back. I took the stairs out in preparation, and I have the seacock access. So this is the saltwater intake for the engine, and its seacock is working. It's a little tight, needs lubing, I think, but it's working. The one behind here, though, is the sink drain. There's the sink up there. There's the sink. And it's this one is the sink drain and the cockpit drain. So it's 2-in-1, and it's a big one, and it's bronze, and I don't think you can see, but this is the little ear where the handle goes, and it is half broken off. So I feel like this is a sign that it needs to be replaced. So that's what I'm going to ask the guy about. They're not easy to get out. I got the other one out. Well, the guy got it out, and I could get this one out probably, but as you can see, the access is a little tricky. Get all those hoses off, and I won't be able to use the sink is the big thing, which I'm not really happy about. It's like my one comfort here is the sink. Pay no attention to this mess over here. I'm working on this old thru-hull. This is the head thru-hull. There are 2 holes from the bolts and a big hole from the thru-hull, and I have taped them outside, and I'm going to put some thickened epoxy in there in preparation for doing a proper repair. I filled the 2 little screw hole bolt holes and the big hole with thickened epoxy, and now it's going to cure, and then I'm going to grind out all around it and put some fiberglass cloth and mat in there. Well, I fully intended to bring the GoPro down when I came down to grind this thru-hull out, but unfortunately I forgot to bring the GoPro down, and I was afraid that if I made one more trip up the ladder that I would end up procrastinating even more. It's been like 2 days or maybe 3, and putting it off just for pure fear. But anyway, it went really great. And number 2 thru-hull is out. Well, mostly out. Okay, so there's this bronze, there's this ring still left, but there was this mushroom collar on here and the 2 bolts. And a lot of people have asked me how to get them out, so the way I did it is I made these cuts in like a tic-tac-toe pattern. I watched the yard guy, and that's how he did it. Made those cuts with the grinder, this way and this way. And then I popped out the corner pieces. They popped out real easy because they were just attached by this little bit of material right here. So I popped them out. And then the side pieces, these ones were quite large, and I ended up grinding this way into them, and I'll be darned if they didn't pop right out. And then I was able to get to the bolts, and they just unscrewed because I got the nuts off inside. And Bob's your uncle. And this, by the way, is the saltwater intake for the engine. It has a screen over it to keep from sucking in seaweed or whatever. And we're that much closer to being out of the yard. Of course, the bottom's got to be done, and that's going to be a biggie. But I'm going to get a quote from the yard to see what it would cost to sand, to have a guy help me sand. I got the quote for the sandblasting, and it was a breathtaking $2,000, so I'm not going to do that. I got the zinc anode off of the propeller, and I got one on order from the marine store here, and should be good. I've also in my spare time been working on the wind vane, which is attached to the boat but not at the right place. It needs to go up more. And I am missing, there's a mast that goes on top, and it holds a sail up here which moves the top, which moves the bottom, which moves the boat, turns the boat. So I'm waiting for the yard guy, the welder, to come and give me a quote for that. And while the welder's here, I'm going to ask him if he can cut these supports for the swim ladder. The swim ladder, you can't really tell from this angle, but it's angled much too far down. It was meant for a power boat, which has a more vertical transom, unlike Harmony. So if he can cut this to the right length to raise this platform up, then it will be much better. This is thru-hull number 1 from the head, and it has been plugged with thickened epoxy. Now I'm going to take the grinder and bevel out a circle somewhere between 8 and 12 times the depth, which is 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to grind that out, and then I'm going to lay some cloth in there to beef it up, and outside and inside. And then it'll be sealed up real good. Thought you guys might like to see the facilities here at Curacao Marine. This is by far the nicest boatyard I have ever been in. It's beautiful. There are 3 showers in the ladies' room. There are 3 toilets, 3 beautiful sinks. Hi! And it's right here, close by. This is MRC. They do all the work stuff around here. And we have 2 washers, no dryers. There's the men's. Over here's the office building. There's a boat coming out. New neighbors. There was a big catamaran here, so there's a big hole where she used to be. She went back in the water today. God, that's an enormous boat. And this is my neighborhood. It changes all the time. People coming and going like crazy right now. So here's my girl. There's my neighbor Duncan up there. And here's Harmony. And they're fixing to move her because I have decided to try the sandblasting on the hull. I did do some sanding here. This took me about 4 hours to do this much. And I'm really not happy with how it's going. it's taking a really long time, and I feel like this is still it's not gonna be good to just slap some paint on it. Well, this is the state of things. I got this new sunshade with the help of my friend Else. She took me to the hardware store where I bought it, and I think it was about $15. Well worth it, because the boat was like an oven. Oh, hey! That was my friend Francoise. It's quite the international community here. We had a barbecue last night, and there were 2 French couples, an Australian lady with her Swedish husband, 2 Dutch couples. Who else was there? Oh, Ishai from Israel, me, the American, the lone American, and yeah, it's really fun. And they're fast. Here they come. Moving on in. Oi, oi, baby. Oh, these guys are awesome though. I don't have a thing to worry about. Cars are driving around my boat. It's so funny. It's so unnatural. It's gonna be okay, sweetheart. I'm here. Don't worry. These guys are good. They are amazing. Backing up this thing. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine driving in the first place. I love these guys so much. Alright, now comes the tricky part, the blocking. This is where Rodrigo comes in. He's really good at it. It's very scary. Setting her down. Ever so gently, setting her down. There he is. He's got the remote control. Setting her down. I think I just figured out this is the sandblaster. There's the hose. Do the blasting. There's the hopper where they put the sand, and I guess that's the little machine that does the sucking and blowing. Oh boy. Well, I only went to the boat once today. I hid out in the Palapa and edited videos, but it's really frightening to see how she looks now, but this is the result of all that sandblasting. And it looks really terrible to me, but they are telling me this is good. This is going to be good. And he said he's just going to have, they'll be done at 10:30 tomorrow. They're going to do the last bit, and oh my goodness, this is just, it's shocking. It's really shocking. And back she goes. She's all scraped clean by the sandblasting. And the guys just came, woke me up from a nap, and they're taking her back. I'm really glad because it's Friday and I did not want to be here for the weekend because it's a really long walk to the bathroom. This little torch did the job for me. A friend came over, and we heated this baby up, and look at that, it came out. So exciting. In other news, I got this thru-hull out with the seacock and everything, and I am preparing to refill the hole so that I can drill a new hole since the new one is smaller, of course. This was the head thru-hull, and I'm pretty pleased with my repair. I put alternating layers of cloth and resin. This is the starboard side, and this is the saltwater intake for the engine. This is the cockpit drain and the sink drain thru-hull, which I am filling. I've ground it all out, and I'm going to fill it completely up the holes, everything, fill it back up, and then I'm going to drill a new hole because the new thru-hull is smaller than this, so I need to make a smaller hole. But this little guy, unfortunately these nuts are not coming off. They're spinning. I'm thinking about cutting it off and filling these holes, rotating it, but I get back on. I just wanted to get it off to clean it because it's like a real mess in there. There's like oysters growing in there and stuff. So this is the starboard side of the hull, and it's actually in pretty good shape. There's nothing needs grinding except those two spots. I ground this all out. There was some blistering here. They were weeping some nasty stuff, but they are dry now. They've been drying, and I just have to fill these gaps now. There's another one, another one, another one. But they're just in this area, so the rest of the hull is good. And I just finished patching the hole from the head thru-hull, and I'm so excited about it. Now I'm going to put the cover back on this baby. So exciting. Back together. Yay! Something's back together. Just having this one little space on the settee is making me so happy. Hey guys, in case you haven't noticed, my videos have been lagging quite a bit, and I am now caught up. So I wanted to just put in an ending on this one to say that the footage you just saw was from December and January, and it is now April. And I am just back from a trip to the States where I had my gallbladder removed, and I'm feeling much better and looking forward to getting back to work. And the upcoming projects are finishing the plumbing from the thru-hulls, painting the bottom, and getting the wind vane going. So look for that next time.